Intel Extreme Masters has now reached day 3 of its tournament. As we get closer and closer to crowning a new Intel Extreme Masters champion, and of course that will be on Sunday. Joining me on the desk to open up the day is of course Pig and Rotti. We have the Black Brothers, dressed up lovely and jubbly today.
Classic and stylish.
Classic and stylish. How you doing, Roddy?
Doing great. I had a lot of fun yesterday, but at the end of the day, the results were kind of what we expected in the start of the day, and that's why I think today is going to be better, because it's a lot harder to predict. Of course, we have favorites, but not the same overwhelming favorites as we had yesterday. There's no Su, there's no innovation, so it's kind of up for grabs, and I always think it's very fun when you look at a group, and you're like, hey, I think all 4 of these guys probably think about themselves that they will make it out of this group, so that's why I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, every single player that's playing today has had that day of break yesterday because they got drawn or were placed into Group C and D, so they had that free day yesterday. Let's take a quick look at the 5-day schedule, as of course this is a 5-day grueling StarCraft II tournament. We started on Wednesday with open brackets. We then moved yesterday into Groups A and Group B, where we found 4 players to play in the quarterfinals. Today we go through Group C and Group D to find the final 4 players to make the 8 for tomorrow's quarterfinals before going to Gamescom itself on Sunday, where we'll play out the semi-finals and grand finals to find the Intel Extreme Masters champion for Gamescom in 2015, Roddy.
Absolutely.
Who's it going to be?
I don't know who's going to be, Sean. Why are you putting him on the spot like that?
Because there's only 2 people. A lot of people are saying it is going to be. What do you think?
Su.
What do you think?
Su's got it, man.
Did he help you in deciding?
uThermal.
Okay, that's one way to look at it. Let's hope he can do it. uThermal player that did get top 8 in Shenzhen. If he can win this one, it'd be a massive moment for him. Let's take a look at the groups for you guys to see who's played already and of course who is playing today. Yesterday we had a pretty dominating day from the powerhouse Koreans. Su and MMA went through in 1st and 2nd from Group A, and Fantasy and Innovation also joined them in the quarterfinals. Today though, bit of an unpredictable day as you've already opened up, Roddy. We've got 2 pretty close groups overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both players, or people that made it out of the open bracket, uThermal, Patience, and TLO as well, I think they're also kind of looking at Group C and Group D. Like, I wouldn't be mind putting into those groups, because you look at Group A and it's like, ooh, well, let's avoid that one. Then you look at Group B, it's like, yeah, we should definitely avoid that one with the WCS Premier League Season 2 runner-up and 2 of the best talent players in the world. So people were hoping to be put in Group C and D. Now, they got that wish granted, so now it's time to deliver as well.
Yeah, I remember uThermal was sitting up in the crowd when we were doing the draw and revealing who was where, and he did a silent, or not really silent, it's more of a bit of a louder one. He was like, okay, that's awesome, because not only does he get the day rest from yesterday, but he gets drawn from the open bracket into this group, and that's the group we're going to be starting in, Group C. And I mean, what are your impressions when you saw the 4 players there, and how do you think this group shapes up? Which way would you think it's going to go?
Group C is really funky. It's one of these, what I like to think of as kind of a bizarro world group. So you see players from different realms of StarCraft who don't play each other a lot. And obviously we're researching for the match. We're like, some of these guys have got to have played each other before, right? And I think there was actually no matchups between any of the players in this group ever recorded in professional StarCraft. Now, obviously some of them have played on ladder a little bit, but it gives this sort of mystery to how are these players going to interact. They don't have that tournament experience against each other. And then you've got players like State, who's this real enigma. He's been over there in Korea practicing really hard. You've got uThermal, who's obviously on the rise, and 4GG, you know, he's always there. He's always performing well. Yeah, you've got to look at 4GG within Group C here to be definitely a favorite for a top 2 advancement. And then the 3 players here, State, of course, qualified through the North American qualifiers to be here today. Lambo, surprisingly, comes as a bit of a different type into the Intel Extreme Masters because he won the EPS Meisterschaft. He comes seeded into this tournament and was drawn into Group C, and then of course uThermal through the open bracket.
Yeah, it's a very interesting group, like Jaro said, no players that have a whole lot of history with each other, but I'm indeed very interested in State. Like, State moved to Korea a long time ago, but I've always had the feeling that it wasn't a move of like, I'm going to drop everything I got in life, I'm going to live in Korea, and I'm only going to play StarCraft. I more felt like I'm going to move to Korea because Korea sounds really awesome, and I'm sure I can play great StarCraft there, but like, I want to move to Korea for more reasons than just that. that. And I was very surprised to see him qualify, because, I mean, I've always thought State was very good, especially when it came to North American Protosses. You had Puck, Hawk, and State. Like, those were the three best Protosses in North America for me. But we didn't hear that much from State. And then suddenly, bam, just cruises through this qualifier and qualifies for Gamescom. So I'm really hyped. I want to see how he does.
And it's, to be honest, the first thing he's done in a very, very long time now, because I think he moved to Korea at the start of last year, roughly around there, and he's tried to get into WCS, playing from Korean server to North American server, hasn't had the best of luck, but here he is today, come out of nowhere, out of the shadows to play. So it'll be interesting to follow him, and we will follow him very shortly, as he is going to be opening up the first match against uThermal, your Dutch pride buddy.
I know. I must say, though, uThermal didn't look as convincing as he has looked in a couple of other tournaments when it came to the open bracket just 2 days ago here. He was struggling a little bit, especially against Zerg. However, against Protoss, he's always been pretty damn good. We've seen him play pretty phenomenal against players like Harstem, against players like Lilbao, and even at the Intac Stream Masters in Shenzhen, he put up a pretty damn good fight against Parting. Yes, it wasn't 0-3, but that is a little bit deceiving. You have to take a look at the games, and there were 2 games where uThermal put himself in a pretty damn good position, and if the Protoss that he was playing wasn't Parting, he would have probably won those games.
Is it safe to say that uThermal's playing at the kind of the peak of his career so far? I mean, he's played 4 Premier Leagues in a row now. He got the top 8 in Shenzhen. What do you think, Pig?
I think it's got to be, it's his time. He's the new guy on the scene, the new guy up near the top, and I think it's really between him and Marine Lord to see who's kind of the top Terran player in Europe at the moment. Of course, Bunny's always there as well, but
Yeah, you can't forget about that name.
I guess
I know you lost 1 series, but come on, let's give the guy a little credit.
they're competing to be on the same level as Bunny. Then they're both trying to vault up there, and I think uThermal's kind of had a lot of success lately. And I always go back to his mentality, because that's the one thing. I've been to a lot of tournaments with him, and I've seen him just get less and less emotional and so much more in control. And I think that's just starting to show in his results. He's just dealing with his losses so much better and adjusting to his opponents in much smarter ways.
Yeah, he used to be a little rager. Like, I've said this story a couple of times, but it's really funny. A long time ago, one of the first times I heard about uThermal, I saw he was streaming, and I finished up my own stream. I was like, cool, I'll go host uThermal, you know, support another Dutch StarCraft player. So I host his stream, and the moment I open it, there are like 27 banelings rolling into his base. He smashes his keyboard and goes offline. It's like, that's uThermal a long time ago, but he's a lot more relaxed right now. And I like him a lot, and I really hope that he does well. Once again, didn't look super convincing in the open bracket, but he was a little bit tired, and he hates playing against Zerg. Now he can, you know, have a good shot at the redemption. Maybe against State first, and then maybe 4GG. Could be a potential great round for him again.
A possible back-to-back top 8 for this guy. But let's talk a little bit more now about State. So I think the biggest question today is, how good is State at StarCraft? Because nobody really knows.
He did have a nice qualifier run, but one good run doesn't tell us too much about that skill. I think the most impressive thing going into this match is that he did beat Massa 3-1 in the qualifying match. He also took down Violet in that qualifier, so he has been playing very well. But if you look back a few months before that, a lot of the WCS qualifiers, a lot of losses, 0-2s to Terran players, and not very well-known Terran players either. Now, that might come down to latency. He might have some issues connecting cross-server, but here on LAN is his chance to dispel that.
I do think it's always so hard to look into results like that. You're playing from Korea often at awful times as well, in the middle of the night or extremely early, and then suddenly you're playing with latency as well. And we all know, like, some people think that, you know, Protoss, it's just a move, but I actually think Protoss is very difficult to play with latency, because one mine shot, you know, you just pull your probes a little bit too late, and it completely changes the game. It's not even fair anymore, because if you would have had a better ping, you would have been able to deal with that, and then you just play out a completely different game of StarCraft II. So how good is he at the moment? I really don't know, but what I do know is that State's always been very good late game. Like, I've loved watching his stream. He has a really cool stream. I used to do some commentating as well. And if he gets up to like maxed out Protoss armies, he's very smart when it comes to positioning and using multiple spells. You know, Time Warp, Guardian Shield, Force Field Storm, he can do it all while spreading out his units.
Is it safe to say, when you're looking at State here, and all the other players that have traveled to Korea and spent time over there, can we not look at today and be like, State has played against 10s of 20s of 30s of better Terran players than the ones that we have in this group, and the same can be said for Lambo too. And you know, looking at that and then flipping it around to playing today, doesn't it just mean it's more of a softer set of games?
In a way, yes. Like, absolutely. He probably gets really sick practice in Korea whenever he's really going all out and he's trying to get as high on the ladder as he can. He's facing probably Terrans that are better than uThermal, but they often play very different as well. And just because they're better, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can deal with the style that a player like uThermal is going to bring to you, because it's just a completely different game again. But he should be ready, at least for the level of play that he's going to face today.
All right, well, we're moments away from getting into the first match here in day 3. Make sure to check out the fantasy leagues that we have running to see who's ranked number 1 and who's ranked at the bottom. You can also check, I suppose, the bottom of the league. It's at esl.gg/sc2fantasy. Roddy, you're looking at me.
Yeah,
what are you looking at me for?
I actually checked these rankings myself, and Sean Clark was
at the top,
pretty low.
Well, some guy has clearly registered as my name and has put the incorrect results in to drag my name down.
Okay.
But we know that I've been hitting the results back and forth throughout the weekend.
All right, so who's going to win this first series of the day, Shani?
Well, Roddy, I don't want to spoil it because there's no point people watching if I already know the result, is there?
Fine.
It's time to go to the commentary team for the first match. And of course, it's going to be State versus uThermal to see who's going to the winner's match.
All right, welcome to the caster's desk for our first series of the day. I'm happy to be here, day number 3. We've already had quite a lot of good StarCraft, and now we got some foreigners trying to compete for those top spots in the round of 8.
You look happy to be here, man.
Yeah?
It's like every day you show up and expect you to be here every day and happy like this in the future for StarCraft II.
Yeah?
You know?
Thanks, man. Thank you. I'm always happy to be casting video games. It's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Especially StarCraft II. Especially StarCraft II.
In particular, right?
We do love it. We do love it. And we've got some great players for you today, obviously. With, you know, not only do we have uThermal and State here trying to rival and move into that top 8, we at least guarantee ourselves a non-Korean here in this group with Lambo, the Meisterschaft champion. I cannot wait to continue saying that today.
Yeah, how many times are you going to say it in this series?
I'll count.
Only you know.
All right. Let's get into it. Game number 1 here between these two, as we have quite the wild card in State going up against uThermal, who has looked good recently. And up to the top right-hand corner, we do have our blue Protoss. It is State. See how he's going to fare after all that time in Korea. Quite a little while back now, I think.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Practicing hard. I just spoke with him.
All right, and up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Terran. Representing AT Gaming, it is uThermal, who has looked good so far in the European scene. Doing himself proud, doing the Netherlands proud for Rotterdam.
State, you know, I was speaking a little bit with him. I was asking him, you know, if maybe after all this time in Korea, he finally got lazy and all that, if he was practicing less. He was like, nope, I've still practiced pretty hard. And versus Terran, he feels, you know, decently confident, it seemed like. I don't think I've ever heard the Protoss be super confident in a matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly he can bring us here straight from the Korean ladder, KLRs, because he went through a pretty tough American qualifier here to qualify for this tournament. He beat guys like Violet, Massa. So definitely, you know, earned his way here to this tournament. And now they're going to go for a quick scout there. I guess that Korean ladder, they didn't cheese him enough. Well, I guess on the 4-players map, it's probably harder.
Yeah. uThermal, you know, we have seen him mix in a few cheeses. Mostly it was against Zergor's Terran opponents. But other than that, uThermal has shown brilliant play against the European-level Protosses in the past. As Rotterdam pointed out yesterday, we've seen some brilliant micro come out of uThermal recently.
Look, it's the Zest pylon here, the second one at the ramp like this, to get a little bit of extra spotting available later on when that Reaper comes in, because you do expect a Reaper most of the time there. And if he doesn't come, then you can basically rule out any kind of standard build. You can start knowing that it could be a gas first or a very greedy build, and you can start adjusting accordingly from there.
Yep, good setup, good wall there to be able to make sure he's going to shut down the Reaper movement a little bit, as well as have a bit of a safety path. As State just going to head on down and take himself the expansion. Are you expecting aggression here from uThermal? I mean, he's always been quite aggressive in the past against Protoss.
Yeah, as soon as you know, he gets his medivacs or even some bio on the map, he's always wanting to be aggressive. But I feel like we've really seen him evolve a lot more nowadays. A while back, it used to be, you know, I guess, relentless aggressions, and sometimes reckless as well. Whereas now it's a lot more controlled, you know? He's definitely going to be able to wait sometimes when he knows that it's not going to be the right decision to actually go for the attack.
Trying to get a sneaky peeky in towards the base, and we'll see the layout of those buildings.
Sneaky peeky.
Sneaky peeky.
Here we go again.
I'm starting off early, Todd. I'm starting off early.
We had Roddy with his cheeky ones, and now we got sneaky peeky from KLIs.
Yeah, it's kind of very British, I would say, more so than anything. But uThermal with his factory on the way as well. You know, he's always been a big proponent of going for those kind of Widowmine drops. We've seen him using that a lot in the past. But do you think a lot of Protoss now are very, very used to shutting down those kind of styles, or?
Yeah, I think they, like, you know, all the timing on the clock usually. You know, when you're a pro gamer, you learn all of them, so you know, like, at what time can a Medivac fly in with the first few Widowmines, and usually you're in position. There is a few gambles here and there as to where exactly you should place your units. Like sometimes you're going to bank on the 10 trying to hit more than natural, like for example, is particular in these positions there, which State is, he started scouting, but he only scouted one location. He's actually proxying a pylon on the map. He has a Twilight back at home, and Blink didn't start. You know what's next, yeah?
Yes, we do. Go for the Dark Shrine, my boy. That Reaper, though, still scouting a boot. I don't think he'll be able to go all the way down towards the bottom. That would be quite the vigilant little path. So that finishes up, and we have our Dark Shrine. So
yeah, he knows that having scouted the Twilight Council there, uThermal is going to expect pretty much only Blink Stalkers, because that's what Protosses have been doing the most. But it's funny how to go for Blink Stalkers and Dark Shrine, you need the same building, yet both tech, they are exactly like they are polar opposites as to how to counter them.
Sees that the isn't researching anything, and that might be a bit of a giveaway here for uThermal.
He still doesn't start in an eBay. I guess he wants to get his barracks first, maybe. I wonder if he actually picked up on him. We're going to see in a second. If he starts no eBay, then he didn't pick up on it.
Yeah, Iris Marine's well positioned on the ramp, though, just to greet that. I mean, Dark Templar are going to have a hard time even getting up there, right?
Yeah, maybe. If he starts saving scans, like right now, he's going to have 2 coming up. He's still quite a bit of energy away, but he knows that even a Dark Shrine, you know, it's 100 seconds build time. And we actually have a pylon here going down pretty close.
And we're going to have that drop coming in towards the natural as well, with these Widowmines burrowing. I think State realizes, just leaves a probe or 2 there. 3 actually go down pretty quickly. Likewise, he's going to pull away from his main base. Sacrifice probe. Oh, he was trying to go into the extractor there. And maybe soak up that shot and not take any damage, but...
2 Dark Templars. We saw these boys doing a fantastic job earlier against Fantasy when Lilbo played against him. 2 scans are available.
Oh,
he's not looking.
Oh no, and he actually repositioned his Marines, so there wasn't even like a proper wall off there at all.
He's got 2 scans available, but not that many units there. uThermal. If White was casting this, I think he'd just say it's GG.
Gotta make sure you clean these up quickly, because right now they're doing quite a lot. The engineering bay is on the way, it's going down, but he even delays it by getting the SCV that was building it. That one Dark Templar does get trapped in the top left-hand corner, but he's swapping in another 2, realizing that those missile turrets are nowhere near. If he can force more scans, this is great here for State.
Yeah, he's gonna go for... Oh, can State get away? Nope.
Oh, that sneaky guy, look at him.
The Widowmine didn't shoot on that other DT.
So much sneakiness in this game, so much.
I don't understand. The DT stepped into the scan range and the Widowmine was there. Maybe it was reloading and I missed it, but I thought he was going to be able to get that DT, and now State is still in there, preventing a lot of mining. Look at this, income 140 right now for uThermal, and that DT is going to get away.
He was initially targeting that one. The second one actually went down to SCVs with a great surround there by uThermal, but at the same time, he's lost so many workers. More Dark Templars are coming in because he knows he's expending so much for resources. He's lost so much mining time as well. State in a great position.
Oh, there's a turret now, though. He's going to need to be careful there. And behind this, we have 50 probes to 28 SCVs. Welcome to Europe. States applying here Korean ladder experience to try and get a first map win against uThermal, who was not ready. He was not prepared at all here for those Dark Templars. And third base already going down here for State. He's adding on more gateways. The gateway explosion, the gateway explosion, as Roddy would love me to call it. And then behind this Colossus tech, he could easily go into Blink if he wanted to in a second when he's going to have the gas.
We're back in now here. We had a small radio cast, but nothing much was going on other than this Dark Templar having a little bit of run around. Because behind this, as you said, he is transitioning on. And it's going to be quite the powerful transition here for State. uThermal has been set back so far, it feels.
Yeah, like in workers, I mean, he lost 13 in total, which doesn't seem like that much, but so many turrets were forced, and he had to pull SCVs off the middle line for a very, very long time. So now it's 20 worker lead here for State. And in this case, having the amount of gateways he's already got, he's going to add even more, and I think he's just in a great position altogether. Not going for Blink, though. Not sure why. He's got the minerals and gas. He's going for neither charge or Blink, even though he's going to need both. Okay, there we go. Starts the Blink.
At the moment, uThermal is a budgie. He's had his cage rattled, so this is a bit of difficulty here for him.
He's a budgie and he's had his cage rattled.
Yeah.
Okay, Daddy, you're next level, Kayla. It's like, I'm not even following you anymore.
You know what a budgie is, right?
No.
No? It's like a little bird. That you know if you were like tormenting a bird and you rattle its cage?
Why would you torment a bird?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's what the Dark Templars did here to uThermal. There you go.
Why did you bring it up?
The point is he's not in the best state of mind. You see what I did there? That was great. All right, uThermal. There's tons of vision here as well for State on the other side. He's got himself pylons set up. He's going to be able to spot out anything. There you go. Todd's actually looking up pictures of budgies right now.
Why would anyone hurt these poor birds, man?
And I don't know. I used to have a budgie. They were nice. Very loud.
So that's where it comes from. You tormented the poor bird.
No. I was very young. And I loved the budgie.
That's no excuse.
There you go. It was called Percy. All right, well. Dark Templar goes down again. uThermal here, setting himself up and trying to find some kind of information, anything. This doesn't even have anything in it, but he just wants info.
Yeah. The Stalkers are going to catch this as well. uThermal knows he's too far behind.
Wow.
He's just going to tap out.
That's that moment where all of those colossi were hallucinations.
Yeah.
No, but yeah.
Take that sip of Red Bull, State. You earned it, man.
Yeah, that was a good start for him. A really, really good start. With the Dark Templars just transitioning on forwards and putting him so far forward. It's a good point that you brought up. I mean, not only killing off that many SCVs, but so much denial of mining time. It took forever for uThermal to really get back any traction in that game, and that's how the cookie crumbles.
There we go with another classic from Kailis.
All right, we're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we are back, it's going to be game number 2 between uThermal and State. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters. Day 3, we kick things off with State and uThermal, and State kicks things off with Dark Templars running all over the place, causing a ruckus, Todd. A ruckus.
I know that word.
You're good. Okay, good. I'm glad you know
Good
that.
try, though. I think uThermal, he kind of narrowed it down to basically being only playing against Blink in this case after seeing the Twilight Council, even though he could have seen that he wasn't researching anything, didn't pick up on that pace. A big price here for it with the first map loss.
And now uThermal's going to have to pull it back. I think, you know, looking at uThermal as a player here in the European scene, he definitely has the chops to do so. We're going to be going on to Moonlight Madness now for game number 2 between uThermal and State. As we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, it is our blue Terran representing AT Gaming. It is uThermal. They changed colors, don't worry. This is State in disguise. And up to the top right-hand corner, we have our red Protoss. Indeed, coming all the way from current locations. It is State. There he is again. Let's go to uThermal. All right, that's fantastic. Back to State, maybe. Maybe? Oh, okay, back to uThermal. Oh, back to State. There we go. These guys. Whew. That's some
getting the day
level.
started with maximum cringe here, Kaila's. Fantastic job.
Hey man, production was on point. I didn't think they'd do it, but there you go. Okay. All right, Todd. Todd, what do you make of Moonlight Madness? This map, I'm sure you enjoy it.
Yeah, like most other maps in the map pool right now, like taking a third map and being able to defend it properly against a Terran that's good at dropping is going to be really difficult. That's why you can't just kind of sit back, play a defensive game, and that's why a lot of the time you're going to see Protosses trying to make stuff happen before that, be it with a Stargate, with DTs, or even some Blink play. Sometimes even, you know, some 2-base all-ins as well. So uThermal is going to have to keep that in mind there after a very aggressive map number 1 here from State. I think it's funny, like also, like, you know, when you play DT like this, if the first 2 DTs, they get shut down hard, like if, you know, when they had reached the ramp, they got scanned and killed, both of them, you're so far behind. Because then it's for sure, like the Terran's going to be getting ready for the next one, so it's not even worth it to send in any more new ones. And then you've invested so much into something that did absolutely nothing. So sadly for uThermal, he didn't really pick up on anything. The fact that it was DTs and actually spotting, you know, that blur moving around.
Do you think that uThermal in that position, it was just a true misread? I mean, he did go back in and see that the Twilight Council was not churning away at Blink, so that's got to be a bit of a kick in the side there for him.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know exactly how that happened. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see, to be honest.
Twilight Council's not as obvious as other buildings.
Yeah, like there's other stuff that's like way more obvious, like when you're making a mothership core and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I really thought that State, he was even gonna kind of fake it, you know, start Blink, chrono boost it, but he didn't even go for it.
He didn't care. It was quite funny, but oh well.
He was the double reverse fake or something.
Yeah, that pylon, I'm pretty sure it does block jumping up all of these locations because of those little shrubberies that we have there. And well, Reaper's...
If you could kill that. I think uThermal's gonna lose that Reaper. Yeah, he gets out of there on time. And I'm feeling like a Twilight here, definitely in the works once again from State, who's gonna get a scout across the map, perfect scouts, and see the factory here that's going down from uThermal.
Probe gonna head on down, have a little look around, and see what is up. Probably expecting a very, very similar playstyle really here from uThermal.
Twilight is gonna go down in the corner of his base here for State. I really like this because a lot of the time, you know, it's going to be out of scan radius. Like he spaced out his pylons very well. So uThermal having spotted every single pylon that was made in the main, all 3 together.
Yeah.
I guess he can first check with his Reaper, but if he misses it, then he's going to have to scan. But in this case, the Reaper will get through and spot the Twilight Council. And this time, he's going to be keeping those Dark Templars in mind. And I think a brilliant move there for State would be to simply go for a Blink instead.
Yeah, but then you go for the double bluff. No, probably not. Probably not. That would be a bit too wild. And there's Blink now
even
on the
for
way.
Percy.
Poor Percy. Oh.
Kaila's bird. What happened to him?
Well, I think it was like 20 years ago, but yeah. I mean,
what do you mean? I thought you were 21.
Old 21? Me? Oh, you flatter me, Todd. You flatter me. No, I'm far older than that. Far older than that. But yeah, uThermal going to be jumping back on him, getting full confirmation now that it is indeed Blink. So
I wonder if he actually like kind of gets worried that this time he's seeing the Blink being researched and he's like, oh god, it's going to be DTs again, isn't it? And then starts getting turrets. Hellions will get in there and not really get much, if anything at all. So far, really not much has been killed. One single probe has fell for 1 Reaper and 2 Hellions. I take that any day of the week.
The Hellion pathing there and trajectory made me think that he was worried that the blink was being faked to then try and fully confirm that it was indeed blink. So he got in there and did confirm that that was the case.
But that's what cost, Skylar's.
Well, at the cost of everything being spotted by the looks of things, he already sees the medevac over coming towards the side because that can see this probe. So good job, Proby.
Yeah, 2 Widow Mines here will be the package to be delivered. And there's not going to be a photon overcharge in the main, actually. If uThermal was to go for it, he's going to go for the natural state, not getting his natural reached here with the medevac. By a certain timing, he was like, well, it's probably going to be in the main, so he left with his stalkers, and the detonation will get 2 probes.
Let's see what this one can do next to a... Oh, okay, so he's going to sacrifice one for it, not even trying to go for a simulator probe.
Where are these Dawn observers when you need them?
Don't know, man. This one just about to pop. Pop. And we'll try and help out for a little bit. That should be okay. Even Dark Shrine again. Did he throw down that Envision? I don't think so, right? That wasn't close enough. So.
Well, actually, it was spotted.
It was Envision.
Yeah.
Ah. Interesting.
It's a pylon, guys.
Yeah, just a mere pylon, don't
It's
worry.
only a pylon.
The way, of course, you can check if you do have health bars on, is that the health bar is slightly higher on the Dark Shrine compared to a pylon when it's building. Just so you know. If you glance at it. But there you go.
Having Blink Stalkers at the front as well, I think if he was to show them, it's gonna convince uThermal even more that there is no DTs on the map. So he's got a turret actually in the main. I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't have a pylon on the other side.
Ooh, what's he? No, no, no!
Can't do this.
Don't, no, what did he ever do to you? Okay.
He didn't get the SCV.
No, exactly. It's like,
Unforgivable.
You better get that guy. It's like whipping a horse. Get him, get him!
You're on fire, Kailash, today.
Thanks, buddy. All right.
The StarCraft passion is real with you.
And gonna come back. Whoa, that was a bit cheeky.
Thought he blinked forward. War Prism on the right-hand side, even though he could have just made a pylon there.
If he could get that, is it? I think that's slightly in range of the missile turret vision. Oh, it's going to be really, really close there. But if he could get stim, oh, he's adding on another missile turret actually right next to that. So Dark Templar will walk in. Missile turret's going down right in front of it. Going to get the bunker at the front as well. So uThermal really being kept on his toes here by State. Gotta say, it's a really good showing from him. Oh,
there is a turret in the natural, but the DT will get in there, get 1 SCV.
Oh, that was a catastrophe for him. He lost those 2 Dark Templars so easily.
He's Protoss, man.
Well.
A lot of it. Taking 2 Colossus behind this, what do you know?
Gotta do what you gotta do when you're a Protoss.
I really like this. State actually saw the turret in the main and then pulled back. Fully picking up that there was turrets, or one rather, in the natural. He's like, well, there's probably one in the main. I'm just gonna check rather than just send my DT in blindly, like Todd style. And he just pulls back behind it and he's gonna be fine. Third base, he's gonna start there. And he actually went for a Forge. Usually, like when you go for Dark Templars into Colossus, you kind of skip on the Forge and upgrades, but he still went for it. That means that actually his army counts is going to be incredibly low. Right now, it's 36 to 58. Soon, when uThermal moves out and starts applying pressure, he's going to have so much more to actually manage fights with. If he was to go for, you know, this kind of Maru-style attack on the third base plus a drop on top of the army against Colossus, I think he's going to do great.
Oh, that's going to be a really good kill. Really, really well done here. Control of the watchtowers every single time here by State has really given him great vision for when these medevacs have gone past, to the point where uThermal, it seems a little bit haphazard that he's flown them across all these watchtower visions every time without checking it.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that he actually went for this, even without the watchtower. Like, you know that the Protoss has blink already, it's probably at home. And the vision on the map, I have to say, by State is insane. He sees the entire middle of the map. He's got some pylons proxied. He sees so much. That's his vision. Look at this. He basically sees everything.
Yeah, it's really good. It's good at the moment. This Warp Prism doesn't even get shut down by the Viking as well, so it will lay dormant and in effect later on, unless that Viking is going to try and hunt down.
That army fear from uThermal is pretty massive, and 30C only started now, so he has invested a lot in this army here and needs to make something happen with it. 81 army supply to 54.
uThermal needs to become a Dutch tiger. He needs to pounce on an opportunity if he sees one. But
3 Colossi against no Viking.
Yeah, that's difficult. He can't really pounce at all. He's going to have to back on off and get himself a second starport because, oh boy, he's going to need it if he sees that many Colossi.
You're obsessed with pouncing, man.
Pounce like a cat. Meow. Do well. Does okay.
DT is getting chased at the watchtower there. State he's on point with everything. I have to say he's very impressive here already in this series. I think, you know, the first game, well, you know, he went DT, killed a lot, fine, but this game, absolute control the whole way here so far. And even though he's behind on supply, he's going to be catching up here real soon and very strongly. Already takes the assimilators on his third base, dropping down 5 more gateways. Templar Archives will probably follow very, very quickly.
Just bring down those rocks up towards the top so that he can access that third base. Would be a nice little start. But he does drop a scan and sees that his opponent is aptly spread.
Yeah, there's not that much there. If uThermal attacked into this army, I think he'd do quite well.
It's very, very far apart from one another, the third base towards the natural as well. It is quite a long path that you're going to have to walk here for State to cover all of those locations.
Oh, a Dark Templar is being sent into the third base there of uThermal. Hello. Who told you could mine?
Nobody, man.
Where are you going, Percy?
Do you have a certificate for mining? I don't think so. You have permission to do that? Don't think so, but...
Now he does.
Yeah, now he does. The Marauders had something to say about that.
Yeah, uThermal, as much as he'd like to be aggressive, has been on the defensive the entire game, and that's just because State has played brilliantly the whole way there. Even though his aggression didn't do much and was defended well in the end, he's forced uThermal into playing a very, very passive game. I think... Is he just gonna pull SCVs? Yeah, I think he might. Only one eBay. Only one eBay is getting +2 now. So even though he got the armory there, uThermal is only getting the attack upgrades. And usually with this, a lot of the time you're gonna drop down a Ghost Academy, go for 3 Ghosts and then pull SCVs. But in this case, I think there's a chance uThermal just wants to play very aggressive when he has enough Vikings and fight against the Colossus. I'm not sure whether or not he's gonna pull SCVs.
Gravatic Boost is on the way, so giving his upgrade to the Observers, which is a bit of an interesting choice. Later on down the game, that
There's
could
some
be great,
Zealots in his third base right now.
They can do
He
quite
needs
a
a
bit.
bunker there.
Yeah, there's nothing to protect, and that's actually going to force the entire army back. This War Prism, having been undeterred by the Viking at the beginning, has really paid for itself.
This is really encouraging uThermal to finally pull SCVs and go for an attack here, because
Control.
he's just getting stretched apart there, having to pull back every single time. Templar Archives is actually incredibly late in this game.
Really, really nicely done there, and State will be able to allow Gravatic Boosters to finish up. Very rare that we end up seeing this actually researched, but it can be very good to actually track down medevac drops. The funny thing about that is you can actually right-click on a medevac with an observer like this, and even if it does boost away, it still keeps up and then catches up later on. So it's something that's very rarely used.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But maybe he should have made that after he maxed out, because right now State is starting a 4th base, and even though he has a scary army in terms of Colossus, uThermal is maxed out. If he was to take a very good fight there and crushes this Protoss army, then he could just counter across the map and do really well. But right now he's waiting for his upgrades to kick in. State's actually going to use that position there, fully knowing that uThermal is out of position to attack. And he can even recall behind his Zealots coming in into the third base with the War Prism as well.
Potentially great move here for State, looking to really power on against the uThermal here. Going to bring down this command center very, very quickly. He knows the army's encroaching on this territory behind and will just recall out, whilst he's also done some good damage in the third base. 24 workers have gone down. Can he get these units? Oh, doesn't manage to get the harassment down in towards the main, but it's already done a lot.
Yeah.
Really well played by State.
And behind this, he's dropping down more and more gates. He's stacking into Storm. That 4th base is going to finish in a second. He's going to start to cannon up every single base, leave High Templars everywhere. He's just damaged the economy of uThermal enough that uThermal, there is no chance he's going to be taking 4 Ghosts here anytime soon. So State takes a great option here on the victory in that map number 2 with this move, I think, because as soon as Storm completes, man, when there is no Ghosts, it's just infinite fun.
He's the utility Protoss, man. Gravatic Drive on the way now for these Warp Prisms, if he actually adds on more into his composition. How many Colossi are we at the moment here? 6 against 18 Vikings. Is it just do or die here now for uThermal? He has to make something happen.
He has to make something happen, but there's just already, I think, too many High Templars with Storm available. It's going to be so hard. He needs the fight of a lifetime there, of a century.
Going to bring his entire force forwards. The Vikings are going to separate themselves up. They need to separate themselves up against the kind of storms that we're going to see here. uThermal on the ropes at the moment. Stays swinging like an Australian kangaroo to try and shut this down. As we will see those storms come in once again, ripping apart a lot of this bio. The Vikings are trying to do what they can at the back, but I mean, before they're even done, the Colossi are still going to be able to tear away a lot of the bio, and he's warping in even more units on the ground to be able to support the State with a supply advantage. The majority of the Colossi have fallen. uThermal
He traded pretty well, but Protoss has quite a few leftovers. States is whopping right into the fight. The Photonovich are still shooting here at those units.
It's got to be super cost efficient here with the remaining army that uThermal has at the moment. The upgrade's not even looking too amazing on both sides.
Oh,
2-1. Oh, there you go. GG. State is able to take the series 2-0. And, well, what a start to his campaign here in this group. A lot of people were doubting him, but that series there, strong against uThermal.
That was the strongest States I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Looked
Really
good.
in control the entire game, went for a lot of bases. Relentless with the aggression at the same time. He was everywhere, always into uThermal's face. And I don't think there's too many Protosses that can do so well against a uThermal that's, even though, you know, you will not admit it, I do think that he's pretty good against Protoss. That was very impressive, man. DTs here and there, Blink Stalkers in the natural, and then later on Warp Prism attack in multiple locations where he takes a 4th base, cannons up. Even that attack on the natural was perfectly timed, perfect recall out of there. Very, very good job.
Yeah, well done there. Well done by State, obviously, being able to move on to the winners game here in Group C. And we'll, you know, kind of continue on to see how he's going to develop here in this group. He's certainly got a great opportunity, though, I feel, in Group C.
Yeah, I mean, there's Lambo and 4GG in there, so with what he showed here against Terran, if he had to face 4GG, I think he'd have a great chance as well. So, yeah, very impressed by State, and I think there's a good chance he might make round of 8 there.
All right, well, let's head over to the analysis desk to see what he has to say about Group C.
Thank you very much, Kolaris, and congratulations, State, to a great start to the day.
Thank you.
How are you feeling with your form there? Because, I mean, Todd mentioned it towards the end. He said that's probably the best he's ever seen you play. How are you thinking about your form?
Really, I felt like I wasn't actually playing that well. I think I got a couple good breaks with builds in the in Game 1 and Game 2. Game 1 certainly with the DT opening. And I don't know, I just took that. But I still feel a little bit rocky in terms of whether I can take 4GG or not.
So, not so much about the difficulty of the group, but when a player doesn't compete in a very long time, most of them get a little bit nervous when they come back on stage again, and everyone's kind of looking at you. How are you going to perform today? Were you feeling nervous jumping up there? And
No, I didn't feel nervous at all.
No, you felt really good up
Yeah,
there?
I'm really comfortable.
Okay, great.
I did want to ask you about the Moonlight Madness being there, and we were talking about it, and we haven't really explored it a lot, I guess, in the TVP matchup. We feel like it's a bit hard for the Protoss sometimes to defend the bases the way they're spread out. Is that part of the reason you went for DTs? How do you feel about the map? Just talk to me about Moonlight Madness.
Geez, so I think actually on that map, in terms of just defending 2 bases, it's pretty easy because the choke at the natural is so small, as well as DTs. I don't know. With the Blink opening, I just wanted to keep him pinned back on his side of the map while I take a 3rd base, and so Blink Stalkers plus DT drops do a really good job of doing that while I get like 2 or 3 Colossus out. So I think if you take it slow, like I did, taking a 3rd base, it's pretty safe. Or if you take a gamble really early, like a very fast 3rd base, both those situations it's good. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little bit tough early game if you don't have a decent opening.
You adjusted really, really well there. Of course, Game 1 as well, going for DTs and a bit more of a rush format.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that one. Were you feeling like this was just a good kind of curveball to throw in there? Obviously, you spotted the Twilight Council. I mean, it's a pretty solid build. How do you feel about why you chose that build and just about the DT opener in general there?
Typically, in like the first map, people are mostly uncomfortable. It's usually the second map that they really feel is settled in, so I wanted to take a really big risk early, and if I lose, it's no big deal. I have the 2nd and 3rd map to fall back on. If I win, it's the kind of thing that can really put your opponent on edge. It's like, okay, he's up a game, he already just did a really risky build, will he do another one, that sort of thing. So for me, that was more serious strategy as opposed to map or anything like that. I just wanted to do something very risky in the first game.
Get some tempo going, throw him off balance.
Yeah.
Awesome, well done.
Yeah, really well done. Great start to the day. Let's not talk about the next match yet. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But how's life in Korea?
It's very good. I'm really happy. The food is great.
You've been there for a long time now, like a year and a half, I guess?
Yeah, about that.
And how is your practice? Because a lot of people go over there, they come back and they say, I feel really good about StarCraft. Is that the same for you?
I don't know. Before I moved to Korea, I was still in school, so I was mostly playing part-time. When I moved to Korea, I did it with a mindset of playing full-time, but I'm not really sure what it was. I didn't really get results after that. So I feel like I'm playing better and better than I have before, but results-wise, I'm not doing so hot. So I'm not really sure if that's a mental block or what, but I feel like my condition's really good.
What about the social aspect of living in Korea? Because a lot of players, again, who've gone over there have come back and said, you know, well, I got a little bit lonely. The language barrier is very difficult to communicate with people. How are you dealing with that over there?
I'm really happy. I have a lot of friends in Korea. Part of that is I've lived in like 3 team houses now before going on my own. So I have a lot of friends from those team houses. I made a lot of friends studying Korean and English together. So I'm happy.
Awesome. Okay, so your next opponent, I want to get your first impressions on this then, because obviously Lambo went against 4GG. It is going to be 4GG. What are your thoughts?
PvT is the matchup that I prepare the most for going into this tournament, mostly because I felt it's my worst matchup overall. So I'm hoping that I can beat him. I think I can. So I don't know. I can't say definitively one way or another, but I feel like I have a really good shot.
All right, congratulations on moving through to the winners match, and best of luck in your next game.
Thank you.
All right, that is State everybody going through to the winners match. Going to be playing against 4GG next on stage here. But before we go to that quick commercial break, remember to check out players.tv for all the action that you've missed over the past couple of days. There's lots of games there. Go to the StarCraft section, go to the Intel Extreme Masters section, and catch up on what you've missed. When we return, it's time for the winners match.
Yeah, right. Last man standing, P250 out, jumping and shooting against one more kill.